Now most of the people have joined, so are you comfortable? Can we start? Aniket and Pankhuri,
Yeah,
are you guys
we
comfortable?
can.
Yes,
Oh,
we can start.
okay, thanks. So good evening, one and all present here, and thank you so much for investing your time with us this Sunday evening. I, Ankit Ranjan, along with my co-host Ayushi Saha from Communique IIT Kharagpur, welcome you all to day 2 of the CDC Internship Training Week on Analytics Profile. Our goal today is that the audience present here will get guidance, a fresh perspective, a new strategy that they can apply to ace their CDC internships.
Today, we have with us Aniket Niranjan Mishra, who bagged an internship at American Express. Aniket, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction. I'm a final year undergraduate student at IIT Kharagpur. I am from the Department of Metallurgical and Materials Engineering, enrolled in dual degree course with specialization in financial engineering. And yeah, I'm from RP Hall.
Thank you. We also have with us Pankhuri Saxena, who bagged her internship at Gartner. Pankhuri, would you like to introduce yourself?
So, my name is Pankhuri Saxena. I'm a final year undergraduate student at the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, enrolled in its integrated MSc course in economics. I am from Sarojini Naidu Indira Gandhi Hall of Residence.
Thank you.
Thanks to both of you. So without any further ado, let's straight out to the discussion. Now the first and prime question that baffles or puzzles everyone is the order in which to prioritize the companies. Pankuri, would you like to present your views upon the same?
Okay, so last year when I was prioritizing the companies, what I was looking was that first, what is the PPO scenario of the company? Because I felt that the CDC internship time was hard enough, and if possible, I would want to avoid sitting in placements and experience that stress all over again. The second thing I was looking at was the kind of work that a company is doing, and if it actually is something I would be wanting to do. The third would be what skill sets would be I would be developing during the process of internship. And the fourth was what kind of culture or values that the company has and that it stresses.
Thank you. It was really insightful. Aniket, anything you want to add to what Pankuri said?
Yeah, she more or less covered most of the points. One last thing I would like to add is that going into the CDC internship season, we have a set of plan, right? If we want to target these set of companies, these profiles. But what happens that if you have a good enough profile, if you have done good work in your years, what happens is that you will get some unexpected shortlists also. So I would like you to keep those companies in mind also, because Amex was one of a surprising shortlist for me also, because I myself was not planning to go into the analytics profile much. I had done some work in ML data, yeah, that was there, but I was not. It was not on my first list, and so don't just ignore companies just because they were not part of your original plan. It may work out very well for you.
Okay, thank you for your guidance. Let's move ahead with the discussion.
Okay, so what are the general selection processes that the company adopts? Aniket, would you like to go first?
So I have to tell about Amex, right? Not any other company.
Yes, the
Uh,
ones you appeared for.
yeah. Okay. So, more or less, the methods are either they will take a test and then they will go for interviews, or otherwise they will do a CV shortlist, then have multiple rounds of group discussion, one-on-one interviews, and then final interviews. So, in MX, the process is they will take one test. Uh, it will contain aptitude, uh, case studies, general ML questions, and then they will directly take interviews. So yeah, you have to perform pretty well in that test, because that's the only criteria to shortlist people. Other than that, I appeared for PNG. It was a straightforward CV shortlist. Nomura was also a CV shortlist, but but it had many rounds in between, like case study and all those sort of things. And yeah, and Credit Suisse, took one test, but yeah, I didn't appear for the interview, so I won't comment much on that.
Okay, Pankhuri, anything that you might want to add?
For Gartner, the process was pretty similar. First, there was this test round. They had questions on, I think, ML or maybe statistics, the basic maths, English, and two questions on programming. And what they said in their PPT was that you had to clear a minimum cutoff in each section to be eligible for the interview. For interview, they had two rounds. First round was mostly technical. Second round was sort of technical, although they didn't ask behavioral questions, but the questions were sort of more generalized and more of test on how would you perform in a given scenario related to data problem you have.
Okay, that was very insightful. Moving on to the next question.
Now, the CV is one of the hot topics during internships. What to include in that and what not to include is a topic of constant bewilderment. So I request you to share your advice on how to frame a good CV. And we also know that we are nearing the deadline for the CV submission for this year's CDC internships. So any one of you would like to prefer some must-haves in the CVs that companies want to see and people may have missed out? So anyone of you may like to start?
Uh, okay, so I'll mention a couple of points. So I won't say the generic points like look at grammar or anything, because those are very basic. If you don't do that, like it creates a very bad impression if you have a spelling mistake or something in your CV. Please don't do that. Other than that, for MX in particular, I would say that you have to mention as much ML data as possible, be it a course, be it a self project or anything. Even if you have a POR of a president in your CV, they won't care about that. They won't even mention that. All they care about is ML and data in your CV. All the interview will be based on that, and I'm pretty sure the shortlisting will also be based on that. Other than that, make sure that you highlight numbers showing impact and results, like from your previous internships. Highlight them, bold them, mention as much as possible with action verbs and all. Yeah, that's the 2 points I would like to add.
Okay, Pankuri, would you like to continue?
So I agree with what Aniket said. The numbers are especially important because when I was sending my CV for reviewing to seniors, the one thing they all highlighted was write the numbers and the impact you had. The other thing was that general CV, also these ML projects are really important. Like personally for analytics profile, the CV I had, I cut down on a governor PUR just so I could have an MLDL project that was in data analytics GC. Just to have that project, I was ready to cut on any PUR. So the general CV template I would recommend is to have two internships, two projects, two PORs, section on skills, a section on awards and achievements if applicable, and a section on extracurriculars. If you feel that you are lacking in one section, say you don't have an internship or you don't have a project. For example, I have not done any project under a professor in KGP. So I would replace that section with adding another internship or having another competition or something where I did data related work. In my case, that was analytics GC. Projects also include term projects. So I think this format makes for a very balanced CV that is applicable across multiple profiles because if you are in a hurry, if you're appearing, there's a CV deadline, you might not want to make multiple CVs. So this format would work across the timelines and but yeah, if you feel that you can tweak it as per your needs.
Okay, let's move forward.
Okay, next we have what are some of the last moment preparation tips and strategies that we should adopt for acing the selection processes? And what's the best way to revise all the concepts? Aniket, what are your views on this?
Uh, I mean, what I will like to mention is that the tests of these companies mostly test speed more than knowledge. I mean, they do test knowledge, but speed is the bigger factor here. If you will see the test of American Express, the case study and the ML round parts are not very significant because there is more than enough time for everyone to solve it either through fair or unfair means. I won't say that. But the aptitude part, uh, which had I guess 20 questions in 20-25 minutes or something, that is pretty intense. Means if you get stuck on one question, or if you are not in a good state of mind, if you haven't slept for like 3 nights for preparation, you won't be able to crack it. And the situation is that you have to solve at least 18 or 19 out of those 20 to have even a slight chance of getting shortlisted, because the company does not do any other kind of shortlisting. So the process here is very intense. So what I would like to say is that you study everything coming up to the week, but during that time, stay calm, be in a good state of mind so that you could perform the best in that test.
Okay. And Pankhuri, what is your opinion on this?
So I would say that your last minute preparation is basically on two segments. First is how you clear the test, and second is how you appear in the interviews. So for clearing the test, as Aniket mentioned, speed and aptitude is very important because aptitude is asked across a lot of companies. Other thing that you should be doing is revising basic probability and statistics scores. Like if you, I hope you paid attention in your probability and statistics course, and if you didn't, I hope you did some online course to make up for it. So probability and statistics knowledge, both probability and statistics knowledge is important. Basic ML knowledge is important, and I would say some programming knowledge is also important for analytics profile, because a lot of companies do shortlist on programming skills. The second part comes preparing for the interviews. For interviews, you need to be very clear with your CV, and what you need to study is related to what you wrote on your CV. Suppose you wrote that you use certain ML algorithms. Even if you wrote a basic regression algorithm, you need to be clear with everything. You need to be clear with what a cost function is, how hyperparameter tuning works, what could happen if you tweak something in those functions. If you wrote something on deep learning, you need to be clear what that deep learning models works, what are the assumptions, what results it gives, what ways it could, on what kind of data it performs well and does not perform well. Because at the your interview is very centric on what you wrote on your CV, so you should be clear in depth with each and every word that you wrote on your CV.
Okay. And what should be the preparation strategy if one has a fortnight or so in hand before the final interview? Pankhuri, would you like to answer this?
Okay, so for if you have a fortnight, I would say that spend an hour or two solving past year CAT question papers, particularly the quant section. And if you have time, you can solve the interpretation section. So your main target here is not to learn concepts, but basically build your speed and accuracy. If you have taken in any ML or DL course now, you can spend an hour or two revising that. If you have you can, I think in during the last 2-3 days you can revise any probability and statistics course that you did. If you already did the course, you had studied it earlier, so it shouldn't take any time. And whatever the rest of the time you have, I think it should be given to competitive programming or just programming in general, because I think that is something that was most difficult for me, and I think that is something that would help you across the profiles.
Okay. Aniket, would you like to add something to what Pankhuri said?
Yeah, and one more thing is that if you're targeting analytics or in general analyst profiles in some banks or something, which mostly people who are appearing for analytics target, you should be pretty well versed with the hard on the street and 50 challenging problems in probability. I mean, you should, if you can understand it, then you should understand the concept. Otherwise, you should just mug up the results in the end. Because in some companies, the whole interview is based on HOTS. Like in 3 or 4 rounds, they will ask again and again the same things, and and probability and statistics is very important. Like even if a company is a coding profile, for a purely finance profile, they will ask one or two questions of probability for sure, and they will be mostly JE level. And if you are not able to solve that, it is pretty much done for you. So do not go lightly on the probability and statistics.
That was great. Moving on.
Another thing of confusion we request you to present your views upon is how many profiles should one prepare for so that he or she has maximum chances of grabbing a good internship. Aniket, would you like to start?
Okay. This pretty much depends on how you have spent your time at KGP, honestly, because I have seen CVs which have like half, which are only filled half, and like they don't have much to diversify their applications. On the other hand, I've seen people who have done so much that they can fill three full CVs and then still have thing left. So if you have a lot of stuff, I would say that you should prepare two or three good CVs and try to target as many companies as possible. Because as I said earlier, even if you are not targeting a particular company and it shortlists you, it may be a very good opportunity. And it's not like if you have not worked in something, they won't shortlist you. Like I was shortlisted in PNG. I had no experience in supply chain or operations or anything. I had a purely ML data or finance profile, but I went till the last round in that. So companies don't differentiate, so you should also not differentiate based on what you have done. You should try and target as much as possible.
Okay. Pankuri, would you like to add something on this?
I would agree that you have to target as many companies as you can, and like whatever company opens for it, apply. Even if you think you are underqualified or overqualified for that company, it doesn't matter. Just apply, because shortlists are the most random thing of the internship process. You can't control how the shortlist is going to happen, and I have seen some friends who were very qualified for a particular profile but didn't get shortlisted, and the opposite happening. So, and I personally believe there is not a profile as such as people make it out to be, because all profiles are based on technical skills, and all profiles are sort of similar in the skills they require. It's basically what niche segment of the skills they target. So if you are preparing for general, if you have decent coding skills, if you have decent aptitude and mathematical skills, if you have decent communication skills, I think that should serve to prepare for any profile. And other than that, every company itself has some varying job description. So in a way, the profile for every company is different. So between this very general and very niche thing, you have to strike a balance on what skills you are emphasizing on your CV.
Okay, that was informative. So now moving forward.
Okay. So how important is CP for the analytics profile, and how much weightage does it carry? What is the expected level required as compared to the software profile? Pankhuri, what would you like to say about this?
So I think CP is important because like you'll see it in a lot of companies, and for Gartner it was there. And with respect to software profile, I think the CPE questions and analytics profile are on the easier end. I think for Gartner, of all the companies whose coding round I gave, I think Gartner was on the one of the easiest questions. Basically, they want to see that you are able to code, and mostly there is not as such time penalty in questions that appear for analytics profiles.
Okay, Aniket, what is your opinion on this?
Yeah, coding is important. That's what I would say. American Express does not ask that. Any of the companies in which I was shortlisted did not have any kind of coding uh, requirement. But yeah, not having a coding skill will close a lot of doors. Yeah, that does not, unless you are pretty extremely good in other things like aptitude, or you have a pretty good CG, or you have a very large number of interns in your CV. Coding is a very good skill to have. If you have time, you should do that.
Okay, that was very informative. Moving on to the next question.
Yeah. Benjamin Franklin rightly observed that by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So, after having made a good CV with different profiles, another milestone is to crack and ace interviews. Since you have already aced your interviews and backed such a good internship, Can you share some tips about how to do so? Pankuri, would you like to start?
Okay, so the first step would be to basically be sure of what you are saying. Especially be sure of what you are saying that is related to your CV. Because while you might know the exact details of the project that you did or internship that you did, what the terminologies you used or what the technological stack was used, it is very probable that your interviews know better than you and they can easily catch you in any lie. So the first tip is that do not lie about anything that is on your CV. Second thing I would be say is if you are asking some general questions that are non-technical, it helps to have a framework that you sort of build and use that to answer that. For example, if someone asked you about data cleaning process, you can sort of say three things that you would do and then explain those things. This sort of keeps the interviewer interested in what you are saying and also be confident. If you have prepared for these internships, you will do well. Even if you don't get in your dream company, you are more talented than in just pinning all your hopes, your identity on one company. So even if you fail, don't get disheartened because better opportunities will come for you in future.
Yeah. Aniket, any addition you want to make?
Yeah. One more thing. You should go through the job description for the role. Uh, Means if the role is a very finance oriented role and you don't even know what a stock is, then it will be pretty bad for you in the interview. You don't want that. At least you should know that okay, this is the requirement for the role. I don't know this and this. I know this and this, but you should be confident enough that okay, I have worked so much uh, on this thing, but given 1 or 2 weeks of time, I'll be able to learn the other things also. And that should be pretty confident and pretty straightforward in your answers. Like if you have worked on Python earlier in ML and data, and they ask you that I give you a project which contains Python, you have to work on Python, and you need to grade yourself on 1 to 10. How well will you able to do? If you say 5 or 6 on that or 7 on that, just to be modest and saying that okay, we don't want to brag, then that won't be pretty good, right? You have all the work you have done is on Python, and you are given a Python thing to do. You should say at least 8 or 9, if not 10. People say 10 also, and that's not a bad thing to do. You should be confident in the skills you have, and you should be confident in your ability to learn any new skills if needed.
Okay, that was helpful. Let's move on to the next part.
Okay, so far we have collected some frequently asked questions by the students regarding the analytics profile. We shall now begin with those. Among competitive programming and projects, which of the two holds more importance and has a higher weightage? Aniket, what are your views on this?
Uh, for the companies I appeared for, CP was not really a criteria. Projects were the only thing that were discussed in the interview. So I would say projects are more helpful. But yeah, Pankudi's company had a criteria for CP, so she would say otherwise. So she can add that.
Yeah, I would say competitive programming is more important for clearing the test. But at least for analytics profile, once you have cleared the test, competitive programming doesn't matter, and they would go on to talk about your projects and what you did that and what kind of things you implemented in that.
That's nice.
Yeah. One more thing I
Yeah.
would like to add is that uh, what's more important than the kind of projects you have done is the story you have, right? You came into IIT, you enrolled in metallurgical and materials engineering. I'm giving my example. But then you started studying metallurgy, you did not like that. Then you tried something else, you did not like that. Then you tried something else, you liked that. So now you have these three options to go forward. So this kind of a story is very important in your internship interviews. They will ask like, why did you're from metallurgy, why are you appearing for a finance role? I had a pretty straightforward answer. I am from financial engineering, so they won't ask me that. But someone who has done finance courses and wants to go into a bank from a dual degree metallurgy role, they will ask this. And most of the time people are not able to answer this. And looks pretty bad. So you should have a coherent story, even if it involves like I personally said in the interviews that I did not like metallurgy, even though I have a pretty good CG and I have a good rank in the department also. I said that okay, I am able to learn the concepts and get good marks, but I don't like where I will go if I continue in this. So that's why I'm exploring more options. So you should have a story and answers ready for these kind of questions.
Right, that's great. Next, how much priority is given to ML and DL in an analytics profile? What are some of the other skills that the interviewers look for? Do aptitude and guesstimates play a significant role for this profile? Any of you would like to take this out?
I think Anikita and I both have mentioned earlier that ML and DL are important for analytics profile because a lot of work in these profiles is sort of ML DL related, although the unit I was assigned to in Gartner did not actually use MLDL, but still my interview had questions on ML. Guesstimates, I think if you are clear with the herd on the street and at most 50 challenging problems, or maybe spend some time on solving questions on Brainsteller, you should have enough of an aptitude. And I feel anyone who has cleared JE has enough of an aptitude or can develop it given some time to develop. Other skills that an interview would look for is basically how you answer questions and soft skills, because you don't want to come off as aggressive or underconfident in the interviews. And also, I think SQL and database skills are sort of not mentioned, but if someone has time to develop knowledge of databases, that I feel is important because a lot of work that actually happens uses those skills. So it might be worth to have those skills.
Right. Aniket, would you like to add something to this?
She pretty much covered most of the points, but yeah, I would agree on the SQL thing. Uh, they won't ask the questions directly on that. They won't ask you to say if you inner join this and this table, what will be the result. They won't ask that. But like personally in Amex right now, what I'm doing, it's 50% SQL and 50% MLDL. So SQL is a very important skill. At least you should know the basics. What are the types of joins? What are the merges? Those sort of things. How to select some columns. And W3 Schools is a good website for this. You should the answer you should have in this, if you don't have a lot of experience working on SQL, is that I know the basics, and pretty much how everybody works on Python is just using Stack Overflow. So using Stack Overflow, I'll work on SQL also. This should be the story you have. Should be the answer.
Okay, one thing I would have to disagree with Aniket is that he said that they won't ask you in interviews what is the result when you join tables, because in my first round of interview, that was one of the questions they did when they saw I had SQL mentioned on my CV. They actually had me fetch a pen and paper, write out two tables, and they asked me what was the result when I left join those tables and when I right joined those tables. So be very clear about the skills you write on your CVs, because you can have questions like these in interviews.
Yeah. And one more thing is that if, like, for example, I had written that I had done a project on Mach Bayes theorem in my data analytics course. So they actually asked me to write down all the formulae. If you are given a new data set, what will be derive all of this, write it on a paper and show it on the camera. So I would say that whatever you are writing in your CV, write it down on your copy and practice beforehand by writing, not by doing mock interviews, not by just uh, mugging things up. Write it down and practice. That will be very helpful.
Right. Thank you for the insight. Next up, we have.
As we all know, preparation is the key to success. We would be grateful if any one of you share your advice on how to prepare for the aptitude tests, and it would be great if either of you can share some good resources that you know of or have used yourself used. Any one of you?
Okay, so I think preparation for aptitude is not learning any new things, because what you already know should be sufficient. Sources would be I personally used the CAT past question papers a lot because I think those question papers are good in a way that they have you think on a decent level. They are, and if you solve them in time constraints, you will realize your level because it's hard to solve the quant section within the time 1 hour, at least on your first attempt. At least that was so in my case. Other sources are, as Aniket had already mentioned, Heard on the Street and 50% Problems in Probability. Brainsteller is also a good website for having aptitude problems and puzzles. I think some people use brilliant.org for problems, but I did not feel personally used for aptitude if you are not comfortable with probability, because at least that was the case with my some of my friends, that they were not even sure of what Bayes theorem was, and they felt that probability was the weakest point even during the JEE preparation. Then I would recommend just go through the permutation and combination probability chapters in NCRT, because I personally felt that if you are not sure of probability, that is the best resource that you can do to be comfortable about the topic. And because also the level of questions is such that that knowledge, at least in probability, should serve you.
Okay. Aniket, would you like to continue?
Uh, I think all the resources have been mentioned. One more thing I'd like to add is that there is a video series by TED Education on riddles and puzzles. So it's I don't know, 30, 40 videos or something, 4 or 5 minutes long. So so most of the puzzles which are asked in the interviews are from there only. The puzzles there are mostly from Brainsteller and HOTS only. So if you like sort of a entertaining way to learn, then that would be good. Like watching 2 or 3 videos of that type daily for a month or so is more than enough. So you can look for that also.
Okay,
Other
it
than
would
that, the
be really,
resources are same.
yeah, it would be really helpful for us. Okay, so let's go to the next.
Okay, so is there any company that specifically comes for the deep learning profile? Uh, any of you would like to take up this question?
Uh,
I think for computer vision, Walmart comes for deep learning profile, or at least has their work that is specific on deep learning. Other than that, in Gartner, if you are assigned the data science unit after joining, your work would be DL related, not computer vision related. You would be sort of more interactive with NLP and recommendation systems. And I think maybe Microsoft has a deep learning and data science profile, but that is not open for non-circuital branches. At least it was not open for my branch. And so that is all I could think the top of my head.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, I don't have much to add on this. Yeah. As I said, I was not really planning to go into the analytics, so I had not done a very in-depth analysis. Yeah, I was more into finance, so I could help on that.
Right. Moving on.
Some people are really confused about the difference between the professions of data analyst and data engineer. So, any one of you would like to present your opinion on the difference between the two?
Okay, so one of my friends has gotten data engineering intern at Mastercard. So between talking to her, so what the major differences I observed was that as a data analyst, your work would be mostly related to Python, Excel, and at my company we use Power BI. And what you interact with the databases would be sort of in a very defined way. Whereas as a data engineer, you are mostly in charge of um, these data warehouses, and your work would be a lot related to SQL and databases.
Okay. Aniket, would
Yeah,
you like to add something?
there's a pretty big overlap on the kind of things. Yeah. Straightforward way, as Pankud is, data engineer is more back end, data analyst is more front end in terms of you need to derive insights and build models and those sort of things. Data engineer is more about maintaining those data sets and creating more new data sets by ingesting from some new sources or something. But as far as the internships are concerned, I don't think that difference matters much. I mean, this is not something people should be focused on right now. We should focus on the skills and all those things. These kind of terminology is not very pretty big of a concern.
Okay. Now moving on.
Okay, so many of us have completed online courses from different websites. So does mentioning about these online courses add worth to our resume? Any of you would like to take this up?
Like personally, I don't mention any online courses in a resume except I mentioned in my second year because I didn't have any other thing to write. It's mostly because I personally feel that interviewer might be doubting the validity of the certificates because there is no way to ascertain whether I actually diligently did the course or I just the answers are available. I could have just copy paste those answers and get a certificate. So I think what might be worthwhile is learning those skills through a course and then having a sort of mini project or that you can write as a self project because that gives you more to talk about and is a better demonstration of your skill project that you have on GitHub. I think in other profiles, maybe finance, these courses may be worth writing about, but an analytics profile is more focused on what you can do rather than what you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Aniket, yeah, sure.
I would agree. I would agree with Pankuri. The role which is served by online courses is basically when you start out after your first or second year, you don't know anything, you have not done anything. So first you do online courses, then you take up some kind of projects with a professor, then you go for an internship with a company, then in every vacation you do an internship. That's the cycle basically. So if you are writing online courses, it gives a bad message to the interviewer is that you don't have enough stuff to write on. Having said that, writing online courses is much better than leaving your CV blank. So if you don't have anything to write, and that may happen because many of you are appearing for CDC in your third year, and honestly, at the start of my third year, if I had appeared, then I would also have had half my CV blank. So it's better to write online courses than leaving your CV blank.
Right. That was nice.
Now let's wait for a minute or two for the audience to post their question in the chat box. So the audience, the chat box is open, so you can continue posting your doubts there, and we would love to take them. Okay, so one question has already been answered about the resources.
Uh, we shall take the next question. Okay, so can we mention such basic course projects in our CVs, like building a naive Bayes classifier from scratch, as you mentioned?
Yes, I think you
Uh,
can mention course projects. I personally mentioned the course project from Stochastic Process and Finance that I did. It was basically implementing this Black and Scholes equation. So I think the course projects, as long as it's relevant, is fine.
yeah, you should mention course projects. Course projects are very good. And in terms of what goes on in the company, we mostly have a mindset that only they only do cutting edge AI or something. I'll tell you, in most finance firms, in most analytics firms, 90% of what is done is just XGBoost and simple naive Bayes classifiers or regression or something. So no project you have done on your own by your own is very small. You should definitely mention that.
Okay, so another question we have is probability, statistics, and PNC enough for aptitude tests?
No, don't say they are enough. They are they're necessary but not enough. You have to practice other stuff like Pankudi mentioned from CAT papers, like basic simple maths, like very basic maths and data interpretation questions, because they that's how they test your speed. So that's also important.
Okay. Pankuri, would you like to add something?
No, what Aniket said is sufficient to cover the answer.
Okay, fine.
We have another question here. So, how good can interview bit serve right now, given that someone has already done CP regressively and has also spent time learning DSA?
I think interview bit will help because if you know DSA, you can. So when you open interview, you will see that the questions are divided in topics, and under topics there are buckets of questions. So if you just want to test your skills, you can do just one question in the bucket. I recommend the question which has the highest time, because generally that question is the hardest question in the bucket, and if you can do the hardest question, you will probably be able to do the easier questions. So if you can do that, I would say whatever time you spend doing on CP will help you, because you might clear. Because I personally felt the all the time I did the CP in the last 15 days actually helped me in the test. And even if it didn't help, it doesn't help you in the starting test. Companies will keep coming throughout the autumn semester. Some companies will come in phase 2 in spring semester. So whatever the CP you do, whatever CP you keep doing side by side is eventually going to help you somewhere at some time.
Okay. Aniket, would you like to add something?
No, more than enough.
Sure.
Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Many of us are doubtful about CP. Now there is a follow-up question that if someone hasn't done CP, then what are the bare minimum CP topics that one should cover, or programming topics that one should cover?
I think the bare minimum is interview bit. So personally, what happened to me, I did initial topics of interview bit. I had just started dynamic programming. I hadn't covered dynamic programming, and what I felt it hurt me in the interview was not having done CP properly, because I had a shortlist on day one at Goldman Sachs, and what happened in the second round of interview was they were asking me a question. Basically, two questions. First was based on priority queue, and at that point, I didn't know enough about priority queue to solve that question. The second question was on dynamic programming, and I could feel that this question has to be solved with dynamic programming, but I didn't know enough dynamic programming to actually solve that questions. So I think that not knowing enough programming harmed me. But for analyst profiles, I think uh, I think you should know. I mean, interview bit all topics before dynamic programming should be well covered. Dynamic programming, you should know the basic type of questions. I think Aditya Verma has a very good channel on YouTube that covers dynamic programming. Other than that, a basic idea of graphs would also be helpful for the test. Basically, as much CP as you can do would be helpful.
Okay, Aniket, would you like to share something?
Nah, nothing to add.
Okay,
Yeah, any CP questions, Pankhudi is the person to answer. I'm not the
okay,
guy.
sure.
We have another question here. So, does the interviewer ask us to code some part of our project during the interview?
Okay, so in my analyst interviews at interview in Gartner, they did not ask me to code anything. That said, they did ask me questions related to coding. For example, they saw my skill set, and I had basically mentioned Python, R, and SQL, and C. So for SQL, I already mentioned they asked me about how joins work. For R, I don't think they asked me anything. For Python, they asked me like if I do something like df2 is equals to df, then add a column in df2. then would that change be reflected in DF? And if it is, and the answer is that it would be reflected, since that it works kind of like pointers. Then they ask me what would be the, what should I do if I don't want that such reflection. Then the answer is I want to make a copy of df, so I would do something like df.copy when declaring df2. So you should, if you have used some, so I knew the answer because I had used something like this in an internship. So you should be, if you did anything, any kind of code, you should be clear with that, what that code does. But I think other profiles do ask you to code in interviews. I think software profile was covered yesterday, and I'm sure certain panelists would have mentioned that they had interviews which had coding done as a part of interview.
Okay. Aniket, any insights on this?
No. Any interview in which I appeared for, they did not ask me to code it.
All right.
They just asked based on what you have done on projects and all, but they never asked me to code it.
Okay.
Now we have almost come to the end of the session. It was really great and helpful interacting with both of you. Just one last thing. From your experience, would you like to share any advice or opinion for people having CDC this year? Like, we would be much obliged if you share your any important advice that we may possibly have missed asking during the discussion. Aniket, would you like to go first?
Okay. First of all, is focus a lot on CV prep. That should be like almost all the time you spend in the last week should be more or less focused on CV prep. Other than that, I would say that everybody is scared the same amount as you are, probably more. If you have prepared whatever is prescribed by us, like us or anybody, like do HOTS, do 50 challenging problems, do some puzzles. Everybody does the same thing, and then company will just select based on what your skill set is. So you don't need to be scared about anything. Uh, Personally, if you get scared and then you perform poorly in some tests, that would be that would hurt you a lot. So you should not be scared much and try to be in a good state of mind at the time of test, and also in the interviews try to perform as good as you can and speak up. I mean, if you are not speaking up in the interview, if you are not expressing yourself, then the interviewer can't do anything, right? You should sit in the with the mindset that the person is here to. The only way he is not going to hire you is if you don't speak up, you say something which is straightforward lie or something. So you should try to present the best version of you as possible.
Okay. Pankuri, would you like to add something to what Aniket said?
Okay, so my answer would has basically two parts. First is related to Gartner, and the second part is general. So for Gartner, if any one of you is applying, uh, the thing about Gartner is it's not completely a data analytics profile. The job description that Gartner comes is their leaded profile, which has basically four components. What they call data science, which is sort of NLP related, advanced analytics, product management, and application development. So your the questions they ask for this company in particular would be sort of based across all those profiles. And since application development is one, they do stress on you knowing some coding. Because of data science profiles and advanced analytics, they stress on you knowing about what you this machine learning and deep learning paths. For product management, what I think was on the at least round two of my interview was sort of related to product management. In a way, if you actually see what product management cases look like, is sort of they give you a broad area. For example, you have to implement XYZ feature in a website. How would you go about that? For data science, it could be like what they asked me was you have to implement an algorithm for calculating the expected premium for insurance for customers. And in that, so what kind of data would you uh, use? What kind of algorithms you use, and what would be the final output you expect? And then they asked me about the pricing of this. So this, if you see that, this is quite like what a product management case would look like. So what the product management case differs from in is the normal consulting case interviews that everyone talks about, is that in product management they don't ask you, at least in the Gartner interview, they don't ask many follow-up questions. They would give a guidance when as and when needed, but it's mostly like you are telling what the data would you consider. Would you consider demographics, medical history, family history, etc., etc. So one special fund I would give is just to watch Victor Cheng's videos on YouTube, because it would help in sort of knowing how to answer the question. So while that is mostly related to consulting, I think that's useful in knowing in any way to frame your answers in any interview. And I would advise you to look at just one or two product cases, so you just have a basic idea of what kind of cases they look like and what kind of things that they do. The second most general funda I would do is do not tie your identity, your achievements into getting an internship on day one on in any particular company, because at least from what I have interacted with my juniors, is that they are placing a lot of emphasis on getting CDC internships. CDC internship is basically what you are doing for 2 months of your life. Even if you don't get in a company of your choice, it's not too late to change your profile. For example, I even during my internship I realized what I want to do and what I don't want to do in future. So it's not never too late to realize what you want to do. And just place this hyping that you got an internship or feeling sad you didn't get an internship is one of the worst things you can do, because you are tying your achievements, your identity, everything to a company that is basically trying to generate more value out of you than it would be paying you. And yeah, the next fund I would give is during the day before interviews, relax, don't study anything, don't revise anything, just relax. Because what I personally felt in my experience, in day one, I had three shortlists and I was very nervous. I woke up at 5 a.m., was in formals by 6 a.m., and then just in a very nervous state. And I don't think that nervous state is something that I would like to go through again, or I would want anyone to experience again. But since I didn't get anything at day one, I was sad. But at night, I sort of had this realization that I do have skills. I do have done something in what was then my 3 years at KGP, and like I'll get something that I would be happy with and something that will help me develop the skills. And I felt that realization was important for me, because the next day I was very relaxed for the interviews, and I felt in that relaxed state I gave a much better interview than any interview I gave on day one. So the second advice is basically relax on the last few days.
Okay. Thanks to both of you. That was really valuable advice. It would help all of us here.
Okay, so we shall conclude the webinar now. So thank you Pankhuri and Aniket for taking out your valuable time to do this session with us. It was a very informative discussion for all of us. We would also like to thank the audience for being interactive throughout the session. We have also posted a feedback form in the chat box. It would be really appreciated if you take out 2 minutes of your time to fill up the form. That's it from our side. Hope it was useful and productive for you all. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sumit, meeting end कर दो. Hello, Sumit, are you there in the meeting?
Yeah, I'm doing.
इसके साइड में लीव के साइड में एरो दबा के एंड नाउ